Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Hood, and I am part of the jury for this week 2 discussion for the case that we are working on. And I have come to a decision after listening to the defendant and to the plaintiff that I am going to find the defendant guilty and vote in favor for the plaintiff. The reason why I have chosen the plaintiff is because not only did the defendant violate ethical moral codes that they took, but they violated HIPAA. And in violation with HIPAA, because none of the people's health concerns had to do with being noted to the CDC because there was possibly a public outbreak, the defendant violated that. The patients felt like that their privacy information and decision information had been violated. Now, the reason the HIPAA was put into place is so that way no one could gain access to anybody's health records unless the patient had signed a consent form stating who would be able to gain access to that. With the defendant going and giving out the information for research without the patient's consent for volunteering for research and the patients being called, to me, that's an ethical code that should have never been done. The defendant should have thought about it for a while and then consulted with the patient before anything and asked the patient if they would be willing to do something like this before referring them and then getting the consent for doing it. Also, too, you do not know what people's religious background is and what their belief is. In our book, it gave us 2 prime examples that I know very much about. One, with me being a Catholic, with me being the Catholic religion, my belief is we don't believe in birth control and we do not believe in abortion. Now, who's to say that this person was a Catholic and they were being called for research on how birth control affects certain stuff or how abortion pills might affect certain people? That there would be against their belief to participate in. Now, the second one that I'm going to point out is Jehovah's Witness. They believe that you're not allowed to accept blood transfusions. Now, yes, I know that if a Jehovah's Witness does come in and requires a blood transfusion, you have to uphold their religious beliefs. And the reason being is because you have to gain their trust in order to get their consent to treat them. Now, let's say they were wanting to do a blood transfusion to see how someone would react to something. Well, the Jehovah's Witness cannot do that because it goes against their belief. Now, the defendant here clearly has also violated the patient's protected health information, which the defendant is not allowed to talk about the past, present, or future of the patient's health or of their treatment or how the patient is paying for the benefits being given to them. With that being said, the defendant lost all trust they had in their patients. And once you lose the trust in your patients, the patients feel like they have lost their right to decide on their medical treatment, and they do not feel comfortable with going further with medical treatment. Now, Also, too, in my personal opinion, if this was me and I was being randomly contacted for various researches, I would not be happy about it, especially if I did not sign a consent form. Consent forms are put into place so that way the patient can prove that they were mentally capable of making the decision and they were not coerced. This makes the patients feel like that they are not mentally capable of making a decision for their healthcare treatment. And I understand every right they have. And like I said, I am siding with the plaintiff, and I hope everybody has a good night.